Part 71. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 701. Zuyun didn't take it seriously at first, but after entering the house, he understood what real poverty meant. The house is surrounded by bare walls, just like the big dog's house in the past. Big Dog's father is an alcoholic. He gets drunk every day and orders the big dog to do everything. If the big dog disobeys even a little bit, he will say that he has no strength and will start raising children to protect him in old age from now on. But whenever he wakes up from alcohol, he becomes so strong that he can carry all the heavy things in his house down the mountain and sell them in exchange for wine. Later, the big dog didn't listen to him at all, and what he got in return was a violent beating with great force. At this time, this thatched house is even worse than the big dog's house. There is nothing except a bed. But fortunately, monks who have reached their level have already gone without food and do not need to eat. Two fellow Taoists, what a joke. Wang Meng's voice was low and full of apology. Zuyun waved his hand casually and sat cross-legged on the ground. This frightened Wang Shu, fellow Taoist, it's dirty there, so you'd better come to the bed. She was injured and walked very slowly. She found Zuyun in such a posture as soon as she entered the house, and she felt very guilty. It doesn't matter, Zuyun smiled and said nonchalantly, Sister Wang family, your brother was originally our guide and collected 10 spirit stones. To be honest, we are quite interested in Yaluo City. Since you are Yaluo City, the disciples of the demon sect must know more than your brother, right? Fellow Taoist, you want to know the news about the inner sect of Yaluo demon sect. Wang Shu is not stupid, otherwise he would not have been favored by Yaluo demon sect and entered the inner gate. After saying that, she slowly walked to the bed and sat down next to the edge of the bed. Sister Wang, you should be able to tell that we are from Peeper Realm, right? Zuyun pointed at himself and Feng and he. It can be seen, she said, looking at Wang Meng and said, except for the monks in the Peeper Realm, no one can be so generous. But fellow Taoist, I have something to say first. Although I was injured by someone from the Yaluo demon sect. But that's just a personal act, not what Yaluo demon sect means. So, you want to know about Yaluo demon sect, but I don't guarantee that I will answer all your questions. Zuyun laughed loudly and said, the Wang family girl is exaggerating. In fact, I came to Yaluo City just to find someone. Looking for someone. The Wang brothers and sisters were all stunned. Feng and he also had a strange look on his face. He had followed Zuyun all the way from Huaytan Valley to Yasha Realm. He had no idea that Zuyun knew anyone from the Yaluo demon sect. Is this kid trying to deceive people? Scumbag, he won't even spare a seriously injured female cultivator. That's right, looking for someone. It just so happens that the person I'm looking for is also from the Yaluo demon sect. I wonder if the Wang family girl knows her. If so, can you help me contact her? Zuyun was smiling, but Wang Shu shook his head repeatedly and said, with all due respect, fellow Taoist, please don't be offended. Fellow Taoist comes from the Peeper Realm, how can he recognize someone from the Yaluo demon sect? Sister Wang, I come from the Peeper Realm, but, I am from the Ya Realm. Yajing. Wang Shu frowned, then relaxed his brows and said, are you looking for Luo Yanran? Even the names were announced, so they must know each other. Zuyun was overjoyed and stood up directly. He took a step forward and was only 1 foot away from Wang Shu. Yes, do you know the Wang family girls? Wang Shu nodded, with a strange look on his face, and said, fellow Taoist, why are you looking for senior sister Luo? It's nothing, Zuyun pretended to be relaxed. Of course, he couldn't tell others his purpose, and smiled, actually, Luo Yanran and I have known each other since we were in Ya Realm, and we are considered good friends. And before she came to Yasha Realm, She also I was invited to go with them, but I had something to do at the time, so I refused. Just this time, the misunderstanding between the two realms was resolved, and the obstacles were no longer there, so I thought about coming over and taking a look. Look how she's doing. Zuyun told the truth before, but these words are just nonsense. If Zuyunzhen and Mengwei form a Taoist couple in the future. In terms of seniority, Luo Yanran is her senior. Mengwei and Luo Yan are called master and apprentice, but they have the kindness to raise them, which can be regarded as a mother-daughter relationship. But in this regard, regarding the relationship between Zuyun and Mengwei, even if he is stronger than Luo Yanran, out of politeness, he should be called senior. Is that all? Wang Shu still had doubts, but his brows had relaxed. Of course, is it possible that you think the two of us can overthrow the behemoth Yaluo demon sect? Zuyun laughed and said, Sister Wang, you think too highly of us? Even if old man Feng is in the nascent soul stage, he looks at it but doesn't use it. Good boy. Feng and he was furious. Zuyun usually just taunted him. He was the number one master in the Peepa realm and got pregnant out of wedlock. Forget it, because there were only two of them present, and what was said was what was said. But at this time, there are two juniors in the Dan formation stage, where do you want me to put my face? Unexpectedly, Wang Meng and Wang Shu's expressions changed. Wang Meng never paid attention to Feng and he at that time. Zuyun was the one talking along the way, so he naturally ignored Feng and he. Furthermore, his own strength is not very strong. Even if he can feel that Feng and he's aura is stronger than him, the most he thinks about is that he is at the peak of the late stage of pill formation. After all, Zuyun was only in the late stage of pill formation at this time. The two brothers and sisters carefully observed Feng and he and said in unison, I've seen senior. Feng and he laughed at himself, no need to be polite, I just came here with this kid to watch the fun, you just listen to him. This. Wang Shu was obviously a little cautious, and Zuyun had no choice but to say to Wang Meng, fellow Daoist Wang, how about you take old man Feng out for a walk, and I can have a good chat with your sister? Wang Meng looked at Wang Shu hesitantly, and when she nodded in agreement, he said politely, Senior Feng, please come with me. Although our city is dirty and messy, it still has unique scenery, why not go and see it? Okay, anyway, this kid doesn't like me, and I feel uncomfortable if I stay here. Feng and he was a little dissatisfied with Zuyun at this time, mainly because Zuyun didn't tell him that he also knew people in Yaluo demon sect. This is hiding and tucking, you kid is a bit unreasonable. After leaving with Wang Meng with some resentment, Zuyun and Wang Shu were the only ones left in the house. A man and a woman were alone in the same room. Zuyun only wanted to ask questions, but Wang Shu felt a little uncomfortable. Fellow Taoist, did you really meet senior sister Luo in the Yao realm? Wang Shu asked softly. Sister Wang, there is no need to be reserved, Zuyun said with a smile, can you help spread the word and let Luo Yanran come to see me? Just say that it is Zuyun who is looking for her, and she will know. Of course, whether you see her or not, everything is up to her. If you want to see her, make an appointment for me. If you don't want to see her, just tell me. There's no problem if you just send a message, but you can do it after 3 days. Wang Shu pinched his fingers and said. Why 3 days later? Isn't she free these days? No time, Wang Shu shook his head and said, Master has to help her reshape her body and restore her original appearance. It will take a long time. But she can come out in 3 days. Then can you see her? By the way, I heard you call her senior sister. Are you from the same sect? Zuyun felt much more relaxed after learning that he could pass on the message. The important thing is that we can also know from these words that Luo Yanran's status seems to be good. No wonder she was so confident at that time and said she wanted to take him to a wonderful place. Well, We are from the same sect. However, senior sister Luo was sent to Yeazhu to garrison a long time ago. Originally, she could only come back after breaking through the nascent soul stage. For some reason, she came back a month ago. Zuyun calculated the time and it should be about the same. Luo Yanran finally returned to Yaluo City smoothly. In 3 days, are you sure it's okay? Zuyun asked. It's definitely possible. Senior sister Luo has been practicing in the Yao realm for hundreds of years, and her knowledge and experience exceed those of our fellow sects. And originally, she was also the best one in the inner sect back then, so she was sent to the Yao realm. Zuyun knew it, but he didn't know about other aspects, but in terms of character, Luo Yanran was definitely unparalleled among his peers and peers. This can be known from the fact that she and a sinister villain like Wang Jianren have lived together in a wooden house in the Immortal Mansion for thousands of years. Thinking about it this way, Zuyun was looking forward to meeting him in 3 days. However, these 3 days. How about studying the fragments in the kettle? Just as he was thinking this, Wang Shu suddenly said, "But fellow Taoist Zhu, there is one thing that needs attention." "What's the matter?" Zuyun asked quickly. "I heard that the Silver Sword Demon sect came to Yaluo City a month ago to ask my master for help. However, he was forcefully driven back by my master. Maybe in 3 days, the Silver Sword Demon sect may send another people come here. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills." Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 702. Hearing this, Zuyun's heart tightened again. The Silver Sword Demon sect is the female cultivators of the Silver Sword sect. They all died in his hands that day. Originally, if he had not met him, Zuyun would not have had a conflict with the people of the Silver Sword section. But going deeper, the Silver Sword Demon sect knew that everyone from the Silver Sword sect had brought Luo Yanran back to the Yashu realm. This is a bit troublesome. Zuyun's brows wrinkled. Wang Shu didn't know what was going on. He thought Zuyun was afraid of not being able to see Luo Yanran, so he comforted him, "Fellow Taoist Zhu, there is no need to worry. On the day senior sister Luo comes out of seclusion, Master will hold a banquet to celebrate. Then I can go and send the message." "But you?" Zuyun looked at Wang Shu, and the implication was that Wang Shu had some difficulty walking now. He didn't understand medicine, let alone magic, and didn't know how to heal Wang Shu. "It doesn't matter. I will practice for 3 more days and I will still have the strength to walk, and that day is a happy event for Yaluo City. I don't think anyone will make it difficult for me. At any rate, I have not been expelled from Yaluo Demon sect now." Zuyun was a little worried. After talking to Wang Shu for a while, she was already tired, and the peaks on her chest were rising and falling with her breathing. "By the way," Zuyun patted his forehead and said, "I heard from your brother that you need spiritual stones to heal your injuries. How about I give you some spiritual stones to help you recover more?" Wang Shu was stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly and said, "My best wishes, fellow Taoist. Spirit stones can only cure the symptoms, not the root cause. Unless, there are astronomical numbers of spirit stones, and use those spiritual powers to assimilate all the demonic energy in my body at once, otherwise, it's useless. Otherwise, I'll make an offer to you, fellow Taoist." Zuyun thought for a while and said, "Astronomical number, how big is it?" "Millions. 10 million. If that was the case, there was nothing Zuyun could do. "You're kidding, fellow Taoist Zhu. Millions and millions of spirit stones, I'm afraid we don't have that many in the entire Yaluo demon sect. I calculated that almost 10,000 spirit stones can assimilate the devilish energy hidden in the body at once, and then this way I can expel the evil spirits that are stuck in my body and causing me constant trauma." 10,000. Zuyun asked with wide eyes. "He has hundreds of thousands on him, 10,000 is nothing." "Yes," Wang Shu lowered his head, fiddled with the corners of his clothes, and said, "How much do you think, even fellow Taoist Zuzu? There are indeed many, otherwise, I wouldn't wait to die." "No, no, 10,000, is too little. Finding Luo Yanran is of great significance. Spending tens of thousands of spiritual stones is really nothing," Zuyun said as he reached out and touched the ring. In an instant, behind him, 10,000 spiritual stones appeared without any sound. Too little. Wang Shu thought he heard wrongly and raised his head suddenly. But when she saw the spiritual stones piled up like a hill, she was so frightened that she fell off the edge of the bed. Zuyun, with quick eyes and quick hands, held him up and said with a smile, "Sister of the Wang family, I can still get 10,000 spirit stones. How about you count it as a reward for helping me pass on the message?" Wang Shu had no idea that he was being touched so intimately by a strange man. In comparison, 10,000 spiritual stones impacted her eyes with great power. "I must be dreaming, yes, I must be dreaming. 10,000 spiritual stones, 10,000 spiritual stones, is that all?" Wang Shu murmured. "Sister Wang, I wonder if these 10,000 spiritual stones are enough for you to fully recover within 3 days. Zuyun was secretly amused. At this moment, Wang Shu looked exactly like the girl next door who hadn't woken up. Just like Zhou Ruyu, who didn't know anything at the time and insisted on following him. "This is real, this is real. This is a real spiritual stone." Wang Shu didn't hear Zuyun's question at all. After approaching the pile of spiritual stones, he rushed towards it. Feeling the rich spiritual power above, she finally believed everything she saw. Zuyun was helpless. It seemed that she couldn't listen to him no matter how he talked to her. Then simply let her calm down first. While Wang Shu was groping left and right on the pile of spiritual stones, Zuyun walked out of the house. Beside this thatched house, there are several similar houses scattered around. But in comparison, this one is the most dilapidated. Zuyun swept over casually, thinking that in such a big city, ordinary monks would definitely have a better life than those in the Peeper realm. But at this time, his horizons were opened. Just as he was scanning the farthest house, a few inconspicuous lights and shadows suddenly shrank. "Is there anyone?" Zuyun frowned. He wanted to go over and take a look, but then he thought about it. With such an astronomical number of 10,000 spirit stones, if someone passes by while he is chasing after him to check, there is no guarantee that he will not be greedy. Loyalty is nothing more than insufficient bargaining chips for betrayal, so the seemingly careless demon cultivator may be because the benefits are not enough. What's more, Wang Shu has almost no power to protect himself at this time. Maybe, someone would really fight for the benefit of this 10,000 spiritual stone. Thinking of this, Zuyun just let those few shadows quietly touch into the distance. "Brother Dong, what a fat sheep." A black-clothed demon cultivator was trembling all over, as if he had seen something extraordinary. "These 3 people are none other than Adong and the others who are following." "Shut up, I smell it." Adong scolded, and then showed an expression of enjoyment on his face. "The taste of the spirit stone is so wonderful. There are not 8,000 there, but 5,000. "Hey, Brother Dong," another monk said, "with so many spiritual stones, how about we swallow them ourselves and then fly away?" "Are you stupid? The big shot is a close relative of Brother Dong. He spent a lot of effort to harm Wang Shu. If we just leave with the benefits, how do you want Brother Dong to face it in the future?" The black-clothed demon cultivator shouted in a suppressed voice. "You know what a fool. Of course the big shot doesn't like spiritual stones. All he wants is the Wang family's heirloom. We don't deserve such treasures. We are just lustful, greedy, and lustful. Okay, stop talking. We have been discovered, and I don't know if we have followed. Those foreigners in the Peeper realm have ghosts and ghosts, and they have all kinds of mysterious spells. If there is something that we can't sense, we can't escape you. If we talk too much, we will make mistakes. Doesn't it make him more vigilant? Adong scolded again and said, "Stop talking, no one will think you are dumb. I will naturally make the decision on this matter. If someone leaks the news, don't blame me for not showing brotherhood. Brother Dong, don't worry. Who are we? Can you still not believe it?" The two of them repeatedly patted their chests and promised, not daring to say more. But Adong was thinking in his heart that Zuyun had naturally brought out so many spiritual stones. But for no reason, he took out a huge sum of money. Why? Family heirloom? Probably not. Even he himself didn't know what the Wang family's heirloom was, let alone Zuyun, who had just arrived. Could it be? Is it the body of Wang Shu? If so, it would be somewhat easier to handle. Under his command, there are many female cultivators who owe spiritual stones and cannot afford to pay them back, and are finally willing to use their bodies to pay off the debt. These female cultivators are beautiful, and the demonic cultivators have temperaments that are completely opposite to those of the righteous path. However, in this regard, they have become a very important profession for Adong. When these female cultivators became tools for him to make money, Adong's attitude towards them also changed. Although water was pumped, it was very little. This made the female nuns extremely obedient to his arrangements. At this time, Adong was thinking that if Zuyun was lustful, he could pull off a beauty trick. If one female cultivator is not enough, then two. Two is not enough, 200, is that okay? As long as Zuyun is obsessed with women and can't extricate himself, then he has plenty of ways to empty Zuyun's pockets. The key point is that what he did was quite reasonable. The Yaloo sect only forbids fighting, but not double cultivation in bed. Let's go back. I've thought of a way. Let's go back first. Adong walked quickly towards his mansion with a sinister smile. The two people behind him also stopped arguing and quickly followed. At this time, Zuyun didn't know what kind of romantic encounter he would have in Yaloo City. Inside the house, Wang Shu finally woke up. Maybe it was the spirit stone that gave her a lot of strength, so she ran to the door. My waist is not sore, my legs are not swollen, and I can walk to the door in one breath without gasping. Benefactor. Wang Shu actually knelt down on the ground, which caught Zuyun off guard. After a breath, he came to his senses and quickly helped Wang Shu up, saying helplessly, "Sister Wang family, you deserve these spiritual stones. To be honest, so many of them are only enough to buy a good pill in the Peeper realm. Medicine, you take good care of your wounds, and I will protect you. When the time comes, just pass my words to Luo Yan Ran. I will definitely live up to my benefactor's expectations." Wang Shu took a step back, gave Zuyun a deep blessing, then walked to the edge of the spirit stone, sat down cross-legged, and began to heal. Zuyun had something in mind, so he took out a lot of spiritual stones and arranged a complete 9 turns and 9 suns array with the thatched house as the center. After thinking for a moment, he ducked to a corner of the formation and took out the kettle. My chest was shaking again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 703. At this time, Wang Shu was absorbing the spiritual power in the spirit stones, which amounted to 10,000 spirit stones. It would take at least several hours for her to completely solve the problems in her body. But the problem is not her, but Wang Meng and Feng and he. These two people were sent away by Zuyun before and may come back at any time. Diwu glazed mirror is his biggest secret, no one can tell him. I want to see if this fragment is part of the immortal mansion. Zuyun took a deep breath, and then focused on pointing the spout of the kettle at his chest. Call out. In the kettle, a sound broke through the air. Before Zuyun could see how big the fragment was, a force came from his chest. The fragments were attached to the Daewoo glass mirror. Boom! The same mirror body, no matter how big or small, the same material collides and makes a loud noise. Feeling the strange movement in his chest, Zuyun immediately looked down. The brilliance circulated, and soon the fragments were completely fused. The movement in my chest has also disappeared. So fast. Zuyun was confused. Some things are not good too fast. Such as fragment fusion. So fast, it can only mean fragments. Very small. It's pretty good to spend 20 spiritual stones in exchange for it, and it doesn't take any effort at all, but others are so impatient. Zuyun said to himself in his heart, and more than 10 breaths had passed. He couldn't help but enter the fairy palace with the thought. After appearing in the cave, he rushed to the entrance of the cave impatiently and looked around the space of the immortal mansion. However, he didn't find any extra houses or other buildings. Is this fragment useless? Zuyun was a little stunned. The medicine garden is still a medicine garden, and there is no change in the weapon refining room and the alchemy room. The cabin on the ranch is still the same. It's strange. Zuyun turned his gaze to Xianxia, and suddenly his eyes lit up. I can't see that side of Sword Mountain, could it be there? Thinking of this, he immediately ran towards Sword Mountain, and a moment later, he was already standing on the top of the mountain. The Chaos Sword was inserted at his side, and Zuyun was already stunned. Under the Sword Mountain on this side, a pond appeared. This pond is not too big, just like a small pond dug by a wealthy family in the mortal world to raise fish. But it looked ordinary, but Zuyun knew it very well. Can there be simple things in the immortal mansion? Look at the sword pool in Sword Mountain, there is endless sword power in it. These sword powers alone have made Wanjian Mountain the first sect in the Yao realm. So this pool. Zuyun's heart moved and he jumped. He turned half a circle in the air, clasped his palms together above his head, and rushed straight into the pool. Wow! The water splashed everywhere, and Zuyun was completely submerged into the pool. But soon, Zuyun was a little surprised. He thought that the pool was no more than 10 feet deep at most, but after entering the pool, several breaths passed and he still hadn't rushed to the bottom of the pool. Open your eyes and look down, the bottom is as dark as an abyss. There is indeed something mysterious about it. Zuyun thought to himself, and then used the water escape technique, and he would not stop until he reached the bottom of the pool. He had to figure out the function of each fragment that was fused, otherwise, what would be the use of this fragment being fused? With this thought in mind, Zuyun recited the mantra silently. But after reciting a mantra, he found that he had not melted into the water. In other words, the water escape technique has failed. Then, there is only one situation. The water here is not water. However, he figured it out easily. No matter how mysterious the water escape technique is, it is nothing more than a lower realm technique. But this is a fairy pond. The pond in the immortal mansion is not that strange. If I can't escape, why don't I know how to swim down? I want to see how deep your pool is. Zuyun didn't think much and began to dive underwater. But the further he dived, the more frightened he became, and he wanted to swim back several times. But when I think about it, I have been swimming for so long, maybe in a few moments, I will hit the bottom. At first, he was a little worried that Wang Meng and Feng and he might come back at any time, but thinking that there was a time difference in the immortal mansion, and even if he spent an hour, not much time had passed outside, he made up his mind to swim to the bottom of the pool. At this time, Wang Meng and Feng and he were in tandem. After knowing that Feng and he was in the nascent soul stage, Wang Meng subconsciously distanced himself and did not dare to walk side by side with Feng and he. But not long after walking, Wang Meng suddenly stopped and waited for Feng Anhe to approach him before he looked away and said in a lowered voice, "Senior Feng, someone is following us." "Is anyone following?" Feng Anhe was stunned, and subconsciously wanted to look back, but heard Wang Meng say, "Those two people are a man and a woman. I have observed them. They are very familiar to each other, and they have followed them several times. Maybe they are a dong. They want to cause trouble." "Making trouble?" Feng Anhe narrowed his eyes and thought about Zhu Yun's combat prowess. He could handle the peak of the late nascent soul. What do these two people mean? In addition, fighting was banned in Yaluo City, so he said he was not panicked at all. He waved his hand casually and said, "You came for us, it's okay, just continue to lead me around." "This." Wang Meng hesitated and said, "Senior Feng, Adong, and the others are powerful, and it is said that they are related to the people in Yaluo Demon section. I think it is better to be careful." "Young man," Feng Anhe said earnestly, "follow them. Do they dare to fight here?" "Don't worry, we will just stroll around. They can follow if they want. What can they do?" "I'm not going to do anything." Hearing what Feng Anhe said, Wang Meng had no choice but to continue leading the way, but he was a little absent-minded when introducing Feng Anhe. He knew what kind of person Adong was, but he didn't know that this man and woman had nothing to do with Adong. At this time, "Did you see it clearly?" the female cultivator asked the male companion indifferently from a distance behind them. "Xianxia, see it clearly, it's my father. Why did he come to Yusha realm? Could it be that he is looking for me?" Feng Qingyang was full of doubts. Zhou Xianxia smiled and said, "Not necessarily, maybe he is looking for Tingfeng Demon Lord." After knowing Nangong Tingfeng's strength and arrangements, Zhou Yingxia's attitude towards Feng Qingyang also changed. In order to go to the spirit world, she could even hand over the heavenly book. It was nothing to just greet Feng Qingyang with a smile. At that time, after they left the stone house, they were not familiar with the route and walked very carefully. They only arrived in Yaluo City yesterday. There were many people in the city center, so they chose a remote place. When they were about to leave today, they ran into Wang Meng and Feng Qingyang, who were strolling out, and immediately followed them. "I don't think it's possible," Feng Qingyang shook his head and said, "He is so timid, how dare he come to Yusha realm? Besides, if he can come, why didn't he come to find my mother earlier? If it weren't for the accident in the heavenly book secret realm this time, maybe I would never know who my mother is in my life." "Qingyang, you have to be more rational." Zhou Yingxia, as an outsider, naturally saw it more clearly, and said, "Senior Feng is in the nascent soul stage, and he couldn't come to Yusha realm earlier." Feng Qingyang suddenly realized that, yes, there was a barrier before the battle between the two realms. Even if his father was in the nascent soul stage, how could he break it by himself? For a moment, he understood Feng Anhe a little. At the same time, he also remembered that Nangong Tingfeng had never blamed him. "It seems that you have figured it out," Zhou Yingxia said with a smile, "whether Senior Feng is here to find Tingfeng Demon Lord, or to find you and me, in the end, we will meet at that place. Why not take him with you? Isn't that just right?" Feng Qingyang thought about it and felt that it made sense. He clapped his hands and said happily, "Yingxia, you have thought it through. Then let's go now." Zhou Yingxia shook her head and said, "After following this journey, I have seen clearly that the Jindan stage demon cultivator is on the same side as Senior Feng. We need to wait and see. If there is a chance, we can take both of them away. At that time, Senior Feng will be taken out of Yaluo City by your shuttle." "Where is that demon cultivator?" Feng Qingyang asked. Zhou Yingxia smiled and said, "Leave it to me. We still need to see what kind of relationship he has with Senior Feng." "Okay," Feng Qingyang nodded and said, "then we will meet 30 miles outside Yaluo City." The two hit it off. The shuttle is a spiritual weapon. he has been secretly using blood essence to warm it. Unless Feng and he wants to kill him, he will definitely not be able to escape. And Xianxia will not have any problem dealing with a Jindan stage demon cultivator. The two hit it off and continued to follow the two, waiting for the opportunity to appear. At the same time, Zuyun finally sank to the bottom of the pool at this moment. He stood quietly in the water, staring blankly at an old stone tablet at the bottom of the pool. On it, there are three big characters. Hualong Pond. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 704. Transform into, a dragon, into a pool. Zuyun's eyes were dull and he muttered three words. If there was such a pool elsewhere, Zuyun would definitely sneer at it. But in the immortal mansion, under the Sword Mountain. Suddenly, Zuyun remembered something. Among the 12 major demon clans in Dongsheng realm, only the dragon clan was missing. Although, he would not have thought that Hualong Pond was inevitably connected with the dragon clan in Dongsheng realm. But to understand it literally, Hualong Pond means that this is a pond that can transform into a dragon. In this way, the dragon clan is in the fairy world. The status is definitely not low. Zuyun thought about it carefully and couldn't help but become excited. There is a dragon transformation pond in the immortal mansion. Does that mean that this pond can transform a dragon? So, what are the prerequisites? Zuyun thought for a moment and decided to find out about the two demon kings and a Niao. In comparison, Lao Ma may not know much. But Lao Jin, he said it himself, has dragon blood, but it's just a little thin. As for A Niao, Zuyun felt that since he came from the spirit world, he would know more about the dragon clan if he came here. As expected of the immortal emperor, he even has a Hualong Pond. This really makes me look forward to what the complete immortal mansion will look like. Zuyun thought to himself as he began to float up. Regarding the fragments of the Diwu glazed mirror, Zuyun has always followed the principle of finding them by chance. If you really want to find something deliberately, it is not as good as the other two attributes of the spirit beads. Earth Lingzu and Golden Lingzu. He really wanted to see what kind of changes he would have if he gathered 5 spirit beads. On a more superficial level, at least one spirit bead can allow him to break through to a small realm. Even if he doesn't practice, just refining 2 spirit beads can bring him to the nascent soul stage. As his strength gradually increased, Zuyun became less and less dependent on the immortal mansion in the Diwu glazed mirror. This also illustrates the power of the 5 elements of Chaos Sutra technique from another aspect. But at this time, the addition of Hualong Pond made Zuyun vaguely feel that this would be another opportunity. Maybe it won't be of use to him for the time being, but what about in the spirit world? What about in the fairy world? With such expectations, Zuyun emerged from the Hualong Pond, then climbed over Jian Mountain and quickly rushed to the cabin on the ranch. In a flash, he appeared in the pasture. Is the demon saint here? Zuyun rushed all the way to the lake and glanced over. Everyone was there except A Niao. Master, the demon saint said that he would go find the ancestral tree by himself and would not let us follow him. Lao Jin and Lao Ma came forward and said helplessly. Going by yourself? Zuyun was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, did he leave any words? No. The two said in unison and shook their heads again. Okay, then you guys continue here, I'll go over and take a look. Just as Zuyun turned around, a black shadow suddenly jumped out of the lake. Wow! The sound of water falling into the water caused Zuyun and the 2 demon kings to look back. Isn't this big black fish living quite well? Only then did Zuyun remember that he was in Pipa state and bought a lot of spiritual fish from the lake and then raised them here. As soon as he finished speaking, Zuyun noticed that Lao Jin's face was extremely ugly, and he couldn't help but ask in confusion, Lao Jin, what's going on? He keenly felt that what Lao Jin was thinking at this time was extremely complicated. Master, there are some things I don't know whether to say or not. Zuyun suddenly frowned and said, is there anything else you can't say to me? Is it, about the big black fish? As he spoke, he stretched out his finger, but unexpectedly, after falling into the water, the big black fish swam in his direction close to the water. Something must be wrong. He concentrated his mind and stretched out his hand to grab it. The water spirit bead flashed a blue light, and a water column immediately appeared on the water surface, wrapping the big black fish and rushing into Zuyun's hands. And when the water column dispersed, Zuyun suddenly grabbed Heiyu's body in his hand. But a strange scene occurred. I saw the black fish twisting its body constantly, opening and closing its big mouth, and pressed against the skin of Zuyun's arm, seeming to be greedily devouring something. Master, to be honest, this big black fish seems to have extremely pure dragon blood. I discovered it when you put it into the lake. However, you were walking in a hurry, and there was something urgent at first sight. I thought I'd tell you when I have time. Dragon bloodline. Zuyun was shocked. Why did he come to the ranch to find a Niao? It's not about the dragon clan. But the dragon clan. Not a demon clan? This big black fish is obviously a spiritual fish. In addition, I heard what Lao Jin said, Heiyu has dragon blood, and he also has it, so why didn't Lao Jin react abnormally? He now knows very well that, as Lao Jin said, this black fish must have smelled the scent of Hualong Pond on his body. If it were put into the Hualong Pond, would it be? Can you transform into a dragon? Thinking of this, even Zuyun took a breath. But, Lao Jin, please tell me carefully, what's different about this black fish? Zuyun still had a question in his mind, which was that Lao Jin could achieve the realm of the Demon King despite his thin blood. This black fish has pure blood, but it is still just a spiritual fish that can be caught by mortals. What is the difference? Master, when you released the fish, I didn't look closely, but I felt that my blood was slightly affected. But now the fish is in your hand, so let me take a closer look. As he said this, Lao Jin moved his face closer. After a few breaths, he said in a trembling voice, Master, you are not mistaken, this is a dragonfish. Dragonfish? Yes, it is a dragonfish. Lao Jin nodded affirmatively and said, it is rumored that the dragonfish is the result of the dragon clan's transformation and the mating of the fishman clan. This matter needs to be verified, but it is an indisputable fact that the dragonfish has pure blood. Even, Master, it can suppress me in terms of blood. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel it so clearly. Zuyun was a little confused and said, what about you Jiao clan? Isn't it said that, are the Jiao clan the monsters closest to dragons? Hey, old Jin sighed and said, Master, how can I say this, we have a memory inheritance, the Jiao clan is born from the dragon clan and the snake clan, which is also a fact recognized by all monster clans. Logically speaking, the dragon clan and the snake clan are the most similar, and their bloodline may be preserved the most, but... Zuyun's brain twitched, and he blurted out, could it be because they are too similar? There is also a rumor that the dragon clan and the snake clan are close relatives. Jin Jiao's face was envious and aggrieved. He is a great monster king, but he can't compare to a fish. But Zuyun was ecstatic in his heart. If this fish is allowed to enter the dragon transformation pool, if it succeeds. He secretly glanced at Jin Xiao, and had no plan to let him enter the dragon transformation pool for the time being. Jin Xiao had told him before that he could also transform into a dragon if he practiced to the extreme. However, he had to reach the realm after the monster saint at least. Because the monster saint must become an adult first. Compared to the dragonfish, Jin Xiao would be more helpful to him now. Another thing is that Zuyun values friendship and loyalty. Jin Xiao and him are acquainted with each other through fighting. Regardless of what happened in the past, at least Jin Xiao is truly convinced by him. Another thing is to let the dragonfish be the test subject first. Even if one is lost, the worst that can happen is to go back to Lake Baiwa and catch some more. Unfortunately, Zuyun didn't know that after Lake Baiwa lost the water spirit beads, it became an ordinary lake. In this place, the spiritual power of the dragonfish will slowly recede until it disappears. Even if they are born with dragon blood, without the support of spiritual power, the blood can no longer exist. Okay, don't be too sad, practice well, that's the right way. Zuyun was in a good mood, patted Lao Jin on the shoulder, and said, blood is all false, strength is the real thing. If you have the opportunity, you can also become a dragon, don't worry. Cultivate the mind first before cultivating immortals, I'm optimistic about you. After that, Zuyun took the dragonfish away from the ranch, leaving Lao Jin and Lao Ma with doubts. Didn't the master say he was going to find the demon saint? After a long while, Lao Ma finally said something. Don't mind the master's business. Maybe he has achieved what he has now because of his temperament. Lao Jin scratched his head, as if he was stimulated. He sat down on the spot, ignored everything around him, and began to practice. At this time, Zuyun had already rushed back to the dragon transformation pond. Good guy, whether you become a dragon or an insect depends on your luck. After saying that, he threw the dragonfish into the dragon transformation pond. Splash! The dragonfish entered the water, bringing up a splash. It swung its tail and quickly swam to the depths of the water. Zuyun was full of expectations. However, after a few breaths, there was no change at all in the dragon transformation pond. Half an hour. 1 hour. 2 hours. Maybe I'm mistaken, this dragon transforming pool is not the same as corpse transforming powder, right? Did the immortal emperor kill the dragon and then dissolve it here? Zuyun looked confused, thinking that he had wasted a lot of time here, and it was already half an hour outside, so it was time to go back. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 705. At this time, at the gate of Yoluo City. Unconsciously, Wang Meng brought Feng and He here. They were just strolling around casually, but after Wang Meng found out that he was being followed, he was inevitably a little panicked. He just thought that there were many people at the city gate and it would be relatively safe. As for what would happen next, how could he, a Jindan cultivator who had never seen the world and stayed in Yoluo City almost all his life, know? But it was precisely this that gave Xianxia and Feng Qingyang the opportunity to take action. Qingyang, your shuttle can hide from Yuanying. Take Senior Feng now and rush out of Yoluo City. We will meet again 30 miles away. Xianxia also had a rare solemn expression. Yingxia, you have to be careful too. Feng Qingyang nodded and said. I won't move, so don't worry. Then, we will meet again 30 miles away. But, remember what to say to Senior Feng, do you know? Xianxia reminded again. Okay, I'll go now. Feng Qingyang silently recited the formula, and the shuttle immediately appeared in his hand. He waved his hand quietly, and when the shuttle left his hand, it disappeared without a trace. With the cover of the shadow of the eaves on one side of the street, no one noticed that there was one less person here. Feng Qingyang drove the shuttle, and even Xianxia only felt a gust of wind passing in front of her. Who would care about a gust of wind? Yes, Feng and He. The shuttle originally belonged to Feng and He, but for Feng Qingyang, he passed this spiritual weapon to him in advance. Feng Qingyang had his own thoughts, and he had secretly used his blood essence to warm it up, so he took it back from Zuyun again in the secret realm of the heavenly book. But after all, Feng and He knew the shuttle very well, and the wind brought by the shuttle immediately attracted his attention. What others thought was wind, he could immediately recognize, this is the wind's spiritual power. In less than half a breath, Feng and he already knew that this was a flying shuttle, but before he thought that the flying shuttle was taken away by Feng Qingyang, he was already wrapped up by the transparent shield brought by the flying shuttle. "Qingyang, is it you?" Feng and he said in surprise. Feng and he's disappearance has attracted the attention of people on the street, and with the sound coming, everyone looked here. Those who saw it with their own eyes stared, as if they had seen a ghost. But those who didn't see it were full of doubts, thinking how could there be a sound when there was no one there, could it be that someone sneaked in again? At this time, Feng Qingyang only thought about what Xianxia had ordered, and said directly, "Dad, I'll take you to find Mom." With just a few words, Feng and he quickly shut up. In this way, a strong wind blew, and a moment later, they had already flown out of Yoluo City. The city gate was wide open, and there was no protection. Anyone only needed to pay spirit stones to enter the city. The people of the demonic path knew how powerful the Yoluo sect was and would not cause trouble. The cultivators of the Peepa realm, who had just arrived, would not take such risks if they could save money. So on this day, Yoluo City had no protection and let them leave the city easily. At this time, Wang Meng finally discovered the problem. What kind of people are Adong? They were clearly coming for Feng Qingyang. The words just now, "Dad, I'll take you to find Mom," were clearly heard by him. This, I have to go back and tell fellow Daoist Zhu. At this time, Wang Meng had only this thought in his mind. He turned around quickly and ran along the way he came. How could he notice that there was also a figure quietly following him? Yoluo City not only banned flying, but also prohibited people from running too fast to avoid causing riots. Wang Meng suppressed his speed and was easily caught up by Xianxia, who was already in the nascent soul stage. Originally, if Wang Meng stayed where she was or chased after him, she would at most ask a few questions to give Feng Qingyang an explanation. But she didn't expect that Wang Meng would actually run into the city, and she couldn't help but think of other things. For example, Zhu Yun. Having traveled with Feng Qingyang for a long time, she also learned about Feng and he and the sword refining sect indirectly. She knew that Feng and he had been pretending to be crazy and stupid, and didn't even have a friend. But now Wang Meng's anxious look, if she said it wasn't a tip-off, she wouldn't believe it even if she was beaten to death. Then who else is relatively close to Feng and he? Of course it's Zhu Yun. Humph, I don't know why he and Feng and he came to Yasha realm. Xianxia thought to herself. After knowing that Zhu Yun had deceived her, she always felt that Zhu Yun had some plan. Especially the Book of Heaven, that was obtained by Zhu Yun first. In other words, Zhu Yun is the destined person. Perhaps, through him, we might be able to find out the method of practicing the heavenly book. With this in mind, Xianxia suppressed her breath all the way and followed Wang Meng to his home. Fellow Daoist Zhu, it's not good. Wang Meng was eager to return home, but he was not prepared at all and plunged into the 9 transformations and 9 suns formation. Bang! With a loud bang, Wang Meng fell flat on his face, dizzy. At this time, Zhu Yun just came out of the immortal mansion. After noticing the movement in the formation, he looked out and saw Wang Meng with golden stars all over his head. Where is Feng and he? Recalling the heavy crash before, Zhu Yun knew that something must have happened. Could it be that Feng and he was causing trouble? Zhu Yun quickly removed the formation, walked out of the house and helped Wang Meng up, saying anxiously, "What's wrong, where is old man Feng?" Fellow Daoist, it's not good, there is a transparent person who captured Senior Feng. Transparent person? Zhu Yun's face looked strange. There was no transparent person. He was just using invisibility. Like he still has 2 invisibility charms on him now. Before, you could even use the shuttle. Wait, shuttle. Just when Zhu Yun thought about this spiritual weapon, he heard Wang Meng take a breath and say, "And, I also heard the transparent man talking." What did he say? Zuyun immediately asked. He said, Dad, I'll take you to find your mother. Then, he disappeared. Senior Feng didn't make a sound at all. Upon hearing this, Zuyun was furious. It's not because Feng Qingyang took Feng and he away. It's Feng and you, an old boy, who have forgotten their loyalty. How many conditions did I negotiate with him before I let him come with me to Yisha realm to find Nangong Ting Feng? Later he agreed to find Feng Qingyang. As a result, when Feng Qingyang said he would take you to Nangong Ting Feng, you didn't even let go and ran away. Won't I let you go? Why don't you leave a message for Wang Meng? Look how scared you are of this guy. Let's just go. This old guy, when I meet him, do you think I won't beat him? Zuyun raised his fist and was about to turn around and enter the house when a very familiar aura of fire spiritual power suddenly came from not far away. Xianxia. Zuyun turned around and couldn't help but his face darkened. So your surname is Zhu? Xianxia touched her chin and said with a half smile, but it was so hard to lie to me. It was a fake name and a fake appearance. You infiltrated our fire dragon sect early, and then you lied to me. It seems that your plan is not small. Zuyun shrugged indifferently and said, no matter how big the plan is, that thing is still in your hands now. Xianxia, you got what you wanted, why do you still want to cause trouble for me? Blessings fellow Taoist. Xianxia smiled even more, and then her momentum increased, and a huge nascent soul aura immediately surged towards Zuyun. But then, it stopped in front of Zuyun. Why don't you hide? Is it possible that, even though you are in the Dan formation stage, you can feel the murderous aura in my nascent soul stage? Xianxia had no intention of killing Zuyun, so he could at most give her a lesson, such as using his momentum to scare her. But Zuyun's reaction was beyond her expectation. Whether or not you have murderous intent is none of my business. Zuyun was rude and spoke cleanly, which scared Wang Meng next to him. No wonder fellow Daoist Zhu is walking with Senior Feng, and all is based on fellow Daoist Zhu. Just because he doesn't give face to the nascent soul stage, this is evident. This is simply unbelievable in Yisha realm. When Xianxia heard this, the smile on her face suddenly solidified. But Zuyun's next words made Xianxia's facial features distort. You, Xianxia, dare to take action in Yaluo City? Even if you are at the peak of the late nascent soul, you don't have the guts. The tone full of disdain directly hit Xianxia's heart. Indeed, she didn't dare. But how did he know? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 706. Zuyun's words made Xianxia furious. At this moment, she wanted to kill Zuyun very much. After achieving the nascent soul stage, her feeling of superiority was gone, except for the initial manifestation in front of Feng Qingyang. This kind of depression slowly accumulated in her heart. She thought that she could show off when she met Zuyun, but she didn't expect that the look in Zuyun's eyes was stronger than that of Nangong Ting Feng. This is just a Jindan stage. In her heart, the emotion stronger than anger is reason. Reason told her that she couldn't take action in Yaluo City. She was in the early stage of nascent soul, and once she took action, it would be a taboo. She didn't have Feng Qinjiang's flying shuttle, so she could escape Yaluo City safely. In fact, at first, she chose to follow Feng Qingyang temporarily for the function of the flying shuttle. As for later, it was because of Nangong Ting Feng. Xianxia's chest rose and fell violently, and this scene was seen by Zuyun. He had seen countless people, and he saw through Xianxia's concerns about Yaluo City. So, he grinned. You dare not. I dare. As soon as the voice fell, Zhu Yun disappeared instantly. The next moment, when he appeared again, he had already grasped the chaos sword in his hand. The black sword body, with a murderous aura, pointed directly at Xianxia's heart. And Wang Meng, who had just taken a breath, stopped breathing again at this time. Originally, Zhu Yun had opened his eyes, but he dared to take action in Yaluo City at this time. Either this is a barbarian, or he is really powerful. Xianxia, who felt the endless murderous aura appearing beside her, suddenly changed her face. She didn't dare to take action, and her momentum was already weaker. Zhu Yun took the lead again, so how could she dare to take action? She also flashed and quickly appeared in the distance. Teleport. Her eyes fell coldly on Zhu Yun, and she didn't dare to blink. She didn't even dare to take action. Just because she was afraid that if she accepted it, it would be judged as a fight by Yaluo City, and even she would suffer. However, it was not so easy for Zhu Yun to beat her. What if you dare? Xianxia's mind turned rapidly, and she immediately thought of a countermeasure. Even if you dare, you can't kill me, Xianxia. You are just a little early stage of Jindan. If you go outside Yaluo City, I can crush you to death with just one little toe. This was a bit boastful. But Xianxia's intention was to anger Zhu Yun. And she also thought that as long as Zhu Yun chased her and beat her all the way, she could run to the city gate. If she attracted other people's attention, wouldn't Zhu Yun be dead? Humph, I want to show you what it means to kill someone with a borrowed knife. It must be said that Xianxia is so cunning that she can come up with the best way to deal with it. And sure enough, as her voice fell, Zhu Yun disappeared again. This time, Xianxia was well prepared and used teleportation almost at the same time. A moment later, the two disappeared from Wang Meng's sight. At this time, Wang Shu finally finished healing her wounds. Looking at the Lingxi Jifen all over the floor, she remembered that she was indebted to Zhu Yun. But when she looked up, she saw that there was no one in the house except her brother, who was lying on the ground outside, covered in dust and seemed to have a big bump on his forehead. Wang Shu's first reaction was, could it be that her elder brother had angered Taoist Zhu, and then Taoist Zhu beat him up and left? Brother, what's wrong with you? She ran out and asked. No, it's okay. I always feel like I'm dreaming. Wang Meng turned over and stood up. Seeing the graceful Wang Shu, with a blush on her face and a strong demonic power emanating from her body, he screamed, Sister, are you okay? Yes, big brother, I'm fine. Wang Shu nodded heavily, then frowned slightly and said, but big brother, where is Taoist Zhu? Yes, Taoist Zhu. Wang Meng took Wang Shu's hand and ran towards the city, saying as he ran, Taoist Zhu is in trouble. Go find your master and see if you can help Taoist Zhu. What? What happened to him? Wang Shu's face changed when he heard that Zhu Yun was in trouble. He beat someone, and the one he beat was in the nascent soul stage. This made Wang Shu dumbfounded. At this time, Zhu Yun was chasing Xianxia with murderous intent and lightning. He had already attracted the attention of others. Because Thunder's spiritual power has a natural suppression on demon cultivators. He did it on purpose. But Xianxia didn't know that Zhu Yun had already seen through his plan. On the street, the monks who were watching the excitement hid far away. They didn't dare to get too close, for fear of being affected by the Thunder spirit. Xianxia was overjoyed to see more and more people watching the excitement, thinking that the mission was accomplished, and this kid would just wait to die. At most, she only needed to run to the city gate, at least the guards would notify the people in Yaluo City. But the development of things was unexpectedly smooth. There was still a mile away from the city gate, and several figures of the nascent soul stage, with endless demonic energy, fell from the sky and blocked Zhu Yun. Xianxia was surprised and took this opportunity to quickly escape. However, she was not stupid. She did not rush directly out of the city, but went around the houses next to her, quickly put away her breath, pretended to be an ordinary monk, and walked out of the city gate slowly. At this time, the guards at the city gate were also absent-minded. What's more, they only care about entering the city, not leaving. Xianxia left Yoluo City easily. Therefore, he didn't see Zhu Yun's wonderful performance. Who dares to take action in Yoluo City? The nascent soul stage fell down, and after finding that it was a Jindan cultivator who took action, he didn't even have the pressure, but just shouted. Zhu Yun sneered, put away the chaos sword, took out the folding fan, and fanned it slowly, like a playboy in Yoluo City. Who are you? You dare to stop me, a Dong, from doing things. Kneel down and call me Brother Dong, and then go back to where you came from. Otherwise, don't blame me for digging out your nascent soul and selling it for money. That's right, Zhu Yun used a talisman to change the world and turned himself into a Dong's appearance while chasing Xianxia. He was so good at judging people that he had seen it when Wang Meng returned the spirit stone to a Dong. This Adong is the scum of Yoluo City. Or, the scum of the human race. Didn't Xianxia want to frame me? Then I'll just go with the flow. At the same time, he also had a purpose, which was to make Xianxia, Feng Qingyang and Feng An think that he was dead. Then, he could see what kind of person Feng An was. Adong? What Adong? Hearing Zhu Yun's arrogant words, these Yuanyings were stunned for a moment. I have seen arrogant people, and there are many. But the key is that I have never heard of this person. The most important thing is that a Jindan stage, even if he is talented, probably wouldn't dare to be so arrogant, right? They are Yuanying stage. Even my brother Dong doesn't know, you are living like dogs. If you don't know, go to Yoluo sect and ask around. I, Adong, have connections in Yoluo sect. Just relying on you few city guards, huh. Zhu Yun imitated the attitude of a playboy, and he really looked good. However, he had no intention of fooling these people. He knew the nature of the demon cultivators very well. These people were very serious, so it was impossible to scare them away. So, if he continued, the only possible outcome would be that he would be caught. Then, he would die miserably. After pretending to be very fierce, Zhu Yun shook his fan and slowly landed on the ground. While these people did not move, he walked out of the city gate with a calm face. Naturally, he, the fake Adong, could not appear in Yoluo City with the real Adong. So, he needed to disappear. While these people did not react, Zhu Yun walked step by step. Finally, the leading Yuanying stage came to his senses. I don't care if you are a Dong, Anan, or Axi, go to Yoluo demon sect with the city guard first. I want to see what kind of big shot dares to protect you. As he said that, he stretched out his hand and grabbed Zhu Yun with endless spiritual power. At this moment, Zhu Yun also moved. Thunder escape technique. The Yuanying demon cultivator stretched out his hand but missed, and found Zhu Yun again. He was already outside the city gate. Chase him. The demon cultivator waved his hand, and the other people teleported at the same time, chasing Zhu Yun. Finally, I'm back to a familiar scene. Zhu Yun curled his lips. This matter of scaring a Yuanying was also the first time for him. But being chased by a Yuanying, this experience, he has enough. After several thunder escape techniques, Zhu Yun fled far away from Yoluo City. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 707. In this period of pill formation, I have some skills. I don't know what kind of magic power I use. Behind him, the nascent soul city guards watched Zhu Yun's figure keep flashing away, their faces extremely gloomy. After Zhu Yun used the talisman of changing heaven and earth, his body also showed demonic aura. Anyone in the nascent soul stage who could take a closer look would find clues, but Zuyun's dandy attitude almost made them lose their minds, which is why these people didn't notice it at all. They also chased them all the way out of Yoluo City, but after Zuyun took the lead, it was extremely difficult to catch up. However, these city guards also made the same mistake as everyone who had chased Zuyun. They thought that with the level of spiritual power in their bodies, they could wait until Zuyun ran out and then easily catch him. Zuyun's experience in dealing with such a mentality is indeed extremely rich, and he has not thought about killing these nascent souls. His goal has been achieved. By pretending to be a Dong, he can not only blame a Dong, but also keep his true identity out of the matter. Now, all he needs to do is find a suitable place, pull off the talisman of changing the world and change the world, and change his clothes to avoid the pursuit of these people. If you were more courageous, it would be a good idea to find a corner and escape directly into the immortal mansion. As for which one to choose, Zuyun is not in a hurry, he still has to find a good place first. At this time, before the broken house, Wang Meng looked at Wang Shu anxiously. "Sister, what should I do?" He was at a loss and had no idea. "Brother, I wish that my Taoist friend gave me 10,000 spiritual stones to help me recover as before. I feel guilty if I don't repay this kindness. I'm afraid that in the future, Yoluo demonic skill will leave shortcomings and I won't be able to go further." Wang Shu seemed to have made some decision in his heart, his eyes were particularly determined. "Sister, do you want to ask your master to intercede?" Wang Meng said anxiously, "I know that your master treats you very well, but you have also seen it with your own eyes. Today, strict rules were promulgated not to do anything in Yoluo City, so fellow Taoist Zhu took action. This is a crime committed against the wind. Maybe it's not enough for me alone. But if I add senior sister Luo, maybe it can." "Senior sister Luo? Is it Luo Yanran who has been talked about the most in Yoluo City recently?" Wang Meng was stunned, wondering how he got involved with Luo Yanran. "Brother, you don't know something." Wang Shu said seriously, "Fellow Taoist Zhu gave me 10,000 spirit stones, saying that he would help me pass a message to senior sister Luo. Think about it, what kind of words are worth 10,000 spirit stones? Among them, in addition to fellow Taoist Zhu wanting to help me, there is also it shows that he has an irreconcilable relationship with senior sister Luo. Although senior sister Luo is not out of prison, when I plead with master, I can say that he is taking action for senior sister Luo. With the two of us, we may be able to win master's intervention. I wish fellow Taoist can be saved." This. Wang Meng stared at his sister blankly, with an undoubted look in his eyes. He knew that he could no longer change his mind. Sighing, Wang Meng said, "Okay, but you are stingy in everything, so don't show your temper. You finally recovered, what if the person who framed you? Brother, don't worry about me. If I suffer a loss, I will naturally gain wisdom. I won't give him another chance. Of course, my master is not indifferent, but he just suffers from the lack of evidence. Otherwise, he can still stay in Yoluo holding a high position in the demon sect." Wang Meng shook his head and said, "Sister, brother, I am not qualified to enter such a large sect, and I have never experienced such intrigues. But brother knows that you are smart, anyway, be careful in everything. As long as you can get the chance to go to the 9 Netherlands with the qualification, I feel that this life is worth it." Hot tears flashed in Wang Shu's eyes, and he choked up and said, "Brother, don't worry, I won't embarrass our Wang family. In addition, after I return to the sect this time, I may not come back again, so you have to take good care of you myself. Also, if you can get the family heirloom back, that would be the best. If you don't come back, you can just let it happen. Well, don't worry, brother has his own sense of discretion." Wang Shu said goodbye to Wang Meng and walked towards the Yoluo demon sect with firm steps. She has not returned to the clan for nearly a month. No one told her anything about what happened to the Yologo demon sect recently. But at least, no notice was issued to expel her from the sect, so she is still an inner disciple of Yologo demon sect. One of the most talented disciples of this generation. Soon, Wang Shu walked to the gate of the sect. I am Wang Shu, returning to the clan. Facing the two ordinary disciples from the outer sect guarding the door, Wang Shu looked arrogant. She raised her head slightly and took out her identity plate. It turns out to be senior sister Wang. Welcome back. The two disciples bowed and stepped away. Wang Shu took back the nameplate and quickly moved towards the inner door without taking another look. Yologo demon sect is located in the center of Yologo city. The further in, the higher the status. After running for a stick of incense, Wang Shu arrived at the entrance of a courtyard. The courtyard is not big, no more than an acre in size, and is surrounded by a bluestone wall. Wang Shu stood at the door, a strange look flashed in his eyes, and then he shouted softly, "Disciple Wang Shu, please see the master." After a while, the courtyard door opened automatically without any wind. Wang Shu walked into the courtyard without any surprise. The courtyard is full of greenery and looks like a garden. There is a winding bluestone trail leading to a pavilion. In the pavilion, a graceful female cultivator with long hair down to her waist, with her back to Wang Shu, said softly, "Shu'er, why are you back? Your injury?" "Master," Wang Shu finally shed tears after hearing this familiar and caring voice. He wiped his tears vigorously and said, "Master, I have fully recovered." "What?" The female cultivator turned around suddenly, her face full of surprise. If Zuyun was here, he would definitely be more surprised than her. Because this female cultivator was somewhat similar to Luo Yanran. When she turned around, the female cultivator's huge spiritual consciousness surged over in an instant, directly covering Wang Shu. Wang Shu did not move, allowing the spiritual consciousness to sweep over his body and hair. After a moment, the female cultivator raised her hand, and Wang Shu flew up out of thin air, and landed directly in front of the female cultivator. "Great, did you have any adventure?" Listening to the master's question, Wang Shu knelt down, kowtowed first, then stood up and said, "I dare not hide it from the master, I met a righteous cultivator, she gave me 10,000 spirit stones to dispel the remaining evil spirit power in my body." 10,000 spirit stones. The female cultivator was surprised again. She could also take out 10,000 spirit stones, but that would empty her family's assets and make it impossible for her to continue practicing. Wang Shu knew about this, she understood the master's difficulties, and that was also the reason why she told Zuyun about the 10,000 spirit stones. "Master, yes, 10,000 spirit stones." Wang Shu nodded, and the female cultivator immediately said, "Shu'er, if you are showing kindness for no reason, you are either a traitor or a thief. Orthodox cultivators have many tricks, and we usually call them hypocrites." As she said that, she looked Wang Shu up and down and said, "Shu'er, did that cultivator make any unreasonable demands? But I see that you are still a virgin at this time." Hearing this, Wang Shu's face suddenly turned red, and he said angrily, "Master, how can you be so indecent? That cultivator did make a request, but it has nothing to do with me." "Making a request to you, but it has nothing to do with you? Shu'er, what is going on?" The female cultivator was also confused. "Master, listen to me slowly." Wang Shu cleared his throat and said, "This righteous cultivator actually came from Yejing." Yejing. The female cultivator was slightly stunned. Yejing is such a broken place, and there are cultivators who dare to come to Yeshujing. Are they really not afraid of death? Yes, Yejing. Master, after she knew that I was a disciple of Yoluo demon sect, she took out 10,000 spirit stones and asked me to pass on a message. Pass on a message, to the master. The female cultivator's brows tightened. She didn't remember knowing the young cultivator from Yejing, because she had never left Yeshujing in her life. To be precise, it was to pass on a message to senior sister Luo. As soon as Wang Shu said this, the female cultivator stood up suddenly and said sternly, "What are you talking about? Tell me quickly." Wang Shu secretly thought it was not good, but there was no way. In order to help Zuyun out of the predicament, she had to ask Master for help. In desperation, she repeated Zuyun's original words. The female cultivator said in a deep voice, "Is the cultivator who asked you to pass on the message a man or a woman?" Wang Shu said with a stiff face, "Male, man." Bang. After the voice fell, the female cultivator slapped out with a palm, and behind the pavilion was a pond. The rockery in the pond exploded instantly. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 708. Master, Master. Wang Shu was frightened. He had been in her family for hundreds of years. How could Wang Shu not know her temper? To say yes, she is really kind and protective of her shortcomings. Otherwise, how could a girl like Wang Shu, who was born as a commoner, be able to practice peacefully in such a demon sect for so many years? But if he loses his temper, Wang Shu will be extremely afraid. But at this time, how could he help Zuyun plead for mercy? Even if she could help Zuyun explain, Wang Shu felt that it was impossible for the master to listen. Chasing him from the Ya realm to the Yasha realm? You really have perseverance. But when Yanu's body was destroyed, where was he? Righteous monks, no matter which realm he comes from, are all the same. The female cultivator's tone was extremely cold. Wang Shu shivered and didn't dare to speak out. He was thinking, could it be that he really had to wait 3 days for senior sister Luo to come out of seclusion and talk to her in person? But by then, is it still too late? At this moment, a female voice suddenly came from outside the house. Is junior sister Luo here? The female cultivator's surname is also Luo, and her name is Shuling. She is Luo Yanran's master and Luo Yanran's biological mother. The shout from junior sister Luo outside was of course hers. It turns out to be senior sister Ding. What do you want to do with junior sister? Luo Shuling's anger quickly subsided and she said calmly. The sect master has an order to summon us for an interview, The visitor walked toward the courtyard while talking. When he saw Wang Shu, he couldn't help but be surprised. It turns out it's Wang Shu. Your injury has recovered. I'm so happy. I met Master Ding, and I thanked Master Ding for his great blessings. The disciple met a noble man, so he got better. He just returned to the master today. Wang Shu suppressed the anger in his heart because the person who framed her was the person in front of him. Luo Shuling's senior sister, Ding Zhen. Wang Shu, it seems that you have a good destiny. You can recover from such a serious injury. You will have a lot of potential in the future. Ding Zhenpi smiled but looked at Luo Shuling again and said, the sect master summoned me to come over quickly. Junior sister Luo, please don't act big this time. After saying that, she left directly, and when she turned around, her expression was extremely cold. Sure, seeing Ding Zhen leaving the courtyard, Luo Shuling said, don't mention this matter again. You also know that Yanner is the strongest genius of your generation, and has been trained in the Ya realm. Although the station is no longer here, but it shows that her state of mind is far superior to yours. There will definitely be a place for her in the passage leading to the 9 Netherlands. It is impossible for her to have contact with Ya realm monks, no, all male cultivators. No matter if she is a righteous monk or a demonic monk, it is impossible. As for your 10,000 spirit stones, you should take the time to tell me and let him ask for it from your master. Hearing this, Wang Shu's face turned ashen. Take some time. Take some time. This is to put her under house arrest here. Master! Wang Shu exclaimed in shock. I told you, don't mention it again, you can just practice here for a few days. When your senior sister comes out of seclusion, it will be the great day for the Yoluo demon sect. As soon as the words fell, Luo Shuling had already ducked out of the courtyard. At the same time, the courtyard door closed automatically, and several dark formations flashed across the surrounding walls. Wang Shu finally despaired. This is Wang Shuling's residence, and it is also her place of cultivation. That dark array pattern has activated the restriction. People from the outside can't get in, and people from the inside can't get out. 3 days, 3 days. I hope fellow Taoist can survive the 3 days. Wang Shu sat slumped on the ground. The main hall. An old woman with a decrepit look was sitting on the front seat with a sluggish expression. She is the leader of Yoluo demon sect. He is also the master of this generation of disciples. I've met the sect master. All the elders shouted in unison, showing special respect. Even among these female cultivators, the weakest are those in the late nascent soul stage. Without courtesy, the old woman waved her hand and said, someone dares to challenge the majesty of our Yoluo demon section, how should we deal with it? Who is it? Master, please save your strength, stop showing off, and tell me, is there anyone in Yoluo City who dares not to take us seriously? Ding Zhen was the first to stand up. Yes, Master, is it possible that other demon sect monks came to challenge our Yoluo City on purpose? This does not take you, Master, into consideration, and we, Yoluo demon sect, do not take it seriously. That's right, such people will be killed without mercy to boost the majesty of our Yoluo City. Let them know that even though we, the Yoluo demon sect, are all female cultivators, we are never afraid of any male cultivators. 3 peak nascent soul late stage figures came forward one after another, and the old woman nodded with satisfaction. But only Luo Shuling felt that something was wrong. Does this kind of thing need to be called out for a face-to-face discussion? Luo Shuling has been busy with Luo Yanran's affairs recently. The old woman has specially approved her, so there is no need to come out if there is nothing. Yes, you are very nice and obedient. The old woman nodded, as if these people were all young girls. But in fact, based on age, this is indeed the case. The old woman's life is approaching and she doesn't have much left. Even if the strength is still there, it won't last long. Over the years, I have relied on the Xiaoyuan pill to extend my life. But Xiaoyuan Dan still has limitations. Made from the same kind of elixir, the more you take it, the worse the effect will be. But in the world, it is extremely difficult to find longevity medicine, let alone find more types. Now that the deadline is approaching, and Luo Yanran returns from Yao Realm, she feels that she has found someone who can take over. Xiu'er, come and tell me what happened in Yoluo City. The old woman seemed to have difficulty speaking, and waved to the maid standing beside her. Xiu'er was only in the Jindan stage, but she was trusted by the old woman, so she was not panicked at all when facing a group of late Yuanying. Taking a light step, Xiu'er said, Elders, this is what happened. Just an hour ago, someone fought in Yoluo City. Everyone was puzzled, was it just a fight? Although this broke the rules of Yoluo City, it only required the city guard to come forward. Is it necessary to make a fuss and gather them together? Is it? Do we have nothing to do? Xiu'er ignored these thoughts and continued, according to a city guard, the one who started it was a Jindan stage. Everyone was even more confused. The one who was chased and beaten was a Yuanying stage. Now, everyone's expression was sluggish. The Jindan stage is chasing the Yuanying stage. Is someone blind or seeing things wrong? Xiu'er, are you kidding? Ding Zhen said in disbelief. She was the first to come out and express her opinion. She thought it was a very strong opponent, so she came out to make her presence felt. Who would have thought that it was a Jindan stage? Let's not talk about whether there is a chance for her to take action, even if she is responsible for handling it. But in this matter, it is not glorious if she wins, and she is embarrassed if she loses. Although she can't lose to a Jindan stage. She hesitated when she was at the peak of the late Yuanying stage bullying a small cultivator. It's not a good reputation. I'm not kidding, Xiu said expressionlessly. Elder Ding, how do you think we should deal with this? This. Ding Zhen didn't know that Xiu had already received the old woman's instructions and set a trap for her, so she blurted out, if she breaks the rules of our Yoluo city, we should naturally follow the rules. Not to mention that she is in the Jindan stage, even if she is in the foundation building stage or even the Qi refining stage, it will be the same as it should be. Ding Zhen seemed to be reciting the city rules. The sect master also meant this. Xiu turned around, glanced at the old woman, and then said, Elder Ding was the first to express his opinion, so let Elder Ding do it. Ding Zhen was speechless in his heart, so he asked, has the city guard not dealt with it yet? No, since this Jindan stage dared to pursue the Yuanying stage, I think he must have extraordinary means. Otherwise, the sect master would not have summoned all the elders here. Listening to Xiu's words, Ding Zhen suddenly realized that he only remembered that the person who took action was in the Jindan stage, but he didn't care what this Jindan stage did. Chasing the Yuanying stage? Interesting. No wonder the city guards couldn't catch up. Xiu, is there any latest news? What does that kid look like and where is he? Just seeing Wang Shu's cultivation restored, she felt unhappy and needed to vent. This was like fighting on orders, just right. Elder Ding, wait a minute, Xiu will ask the city guard in charge of the pursuit. Xiu bowed slightly, then retreated to the side of the old woman and asked for a jade talisman. He city guard, please reply if you get it. All the Yuanying stage people stared at the jade talisman. After a while, a deep male voice came. Things are not good, the Jindan stage is gone. I suspect that the kid may have used some mysterious magic skills such as the clone technique to take us away with the clone. And his original body may still be in Yoluo City. What? The voice of He City Guard was clearly heard by everyone. Clone technique. They did not doubt He City Guard. Although he is not a disciple of the Yoluo demon sect, his strength has reached the peak of the late nascent soul stage. However, his main body is still in Yoluo City. Isn't this a bit too bold? He Xianxia, you should come back first. The sect will send Elder Ding to work with you. Xiu said another sentence, and then put away the sound transmission jade talisman. Elder Ding, reliable information, that Jindan stage, calls himself Adong. Xiu truthfully relayed what she had heard from He Xianxiao about Adong. At first, Ding Zhen didn't agree with it. But until Xiu said this. According to the investigations I sent several people to investigate, Adong's surname is Ding. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 709. Xiu, what do you mean? Ding Zhen remained calm, but in fact she was extremely shocked. There are very few spiritual stones in Yusha realm. Adong is her distant relative, and she arranged him in Yoluo City to make money. 1 or 2 pieces are not too little, and 100 or 80 pieces are not too much. The advantage is that Adong is a very smart person, and he is ruthless when it comes to usury. He can provide her with a lot of spiritual stones every month. And she will also take care of Adong openly or secretly. But later, Adong made a name for himself among ordinary cultivators in Yoluo City, and she didn't need to worry about him. In recent decades, she has not contacted Adong at all. But this relationship was exposed at this time. Adong, the real name is Ding Dong. There is only one Ding family in Yoluo City. Ding Zhen, don't you know what we are talking about? Xiu relied on the support of the sect leader and said in a cowardly manner. Even if Ding Zhen could destroy her with a wave of her hand, she was not afraid at all. Xiu, even if Ding Dong is a member of my Ding family, so what? I haven't contacted the Ding family for a long time. If you want to accuse me, you can always find a pretext. Ding Zhen's tone was tough, but she was prepared in her heart. If the sect leader or other people took action, she would have no choice but to flee. As for the Ding family, how could she care about it? The spirit stones she had accumulated over the years were enough for her to use for a long time. Elder Ding, I haven't said anything yet, why are you reacting so strongly? Who knew that Jiu spit out a sentence with a smile, which made Ding Zhen curse in her heart and said she was fooled. If she was so eager to refute, she would undoubtedly admit it. No evidence is needed, just everyone present needs to believe it. But Ding Zhen made his last struggle, raised his head and said, that's because you think that someone is doing evil in the city at the instigation of me, Ding Zhen. I, Ding Zhen, have been in Yoluo sect for nearly 1,000 years. I have been working diligently and have never brought shame to the sect. But now, you are accusing me like this? Anyone would be upset, right? Besides, even if Ding Dong was instigated by me, what is my purpose? Breaking the rules of Yoluo City will not benefit me at all. Ding Zhen became more and more powerful as he spoke. At the end, every word he said was resounding and powerful. It seemed that the louder the voice, the more reasonable it was. And the elders sneered, more like watching a clown performing hysterically. They only waited for the sect leader to give an order, and then they would take action immediately. No one can break the rules of Yoluo City. What Xiu just said made them almost think that Adong was the underground king of Yoluo City. It's ridiculous. They didn't even know there would be such a person in Yoluo City. But then again, that method is really good. He was able to escape the pursuit of the Yuanying period. When Ding Zhen was tired of talking, the sect master finally spoke. Since Adong is gone, it means he has been hiding in Yoluo City. Xiu, since you have found out Adong's identity, you must know where his home is, right? Yes, sect master, Xiu has already found out. His home is in the south of the city, and there is a mansion. This is not something that ordinary Jindan period can afford. Xiu said truthfully. Then, you can select a few people and take Elder Ding to take a look. Of course, Elder Ding must not show up to see what's so powerful about Adong. As soon as the voice fell, the sect master's withered old hand suddenly moved, and a black light quickly rushed towards Ding Zhen. Ding Zhen was horrified and couldn't react at all. In just a blink of an eye, the black light had already sunk into her eyebrows. Suddenly, Ding Zhen felt as if all her magic power had disappeared. Master, what are you doing? Ding Zhen felt cold all over. She didn't expect that she would be so helpless as to be at the peak of the late nascent soul stage. But Master was clearly dying. Nothing, just to show you a good show. The sect master waved his hand lightly, and then stood up and left the sect master hall. At this moment, Xiu, who was in the Jindan stage, was in power. Elder Luo, Elder Qin, Elder Zhu, please take Elder Ding with me to the south of the city to do business. Xiu respectfully pointed out 3 people, and Luo Shuling was among them. I don't know if she did it intentionally or unintentionally. Wang Shu suddenly had a problem with his cultivation and lost all his cultivation. Many people knew about this, but almost no one would guess that it was Ding Zhen. But Xiu insisted that she go to do things at this time. Could it be that there was something else? At this time, in the south of the city, in Ding Dong's mansion, 3 people gathered in a side hall, discussing something. The leader was Ding Dong, and the other two were his lackeys. Suddenly, light footsteps were heard outside the house, and the three people quickly shut up. Ding Dong winked at one of them, then pointed at the door, and the subordinate immediately strode forward and opened the door. What caught the eyes of the three people was a stunning female cultivator. It was none other than Xiu'er. Xiu'er's eyes were full of spring, and there was a faint smile on her lips, which made the three people look at her in a daze. As the mate of the leader of the Yologo demon sect, if she was ugly, how could she be in the eyes of the leader and become a popular person in front of her? "This fairy, are you here to see Brother Dong?" The subordinate who opened the door came to his senses and said hurriedly. "Yes, I've run into some trouble and I'm short of money. I heard that Brother Dong can borrow some spirit stones. I wonder." "Ha ha ha, there are plenty of spirit stones." Ding Dong stepped forward, pushed his subordinate away, stood in front of Xiu'er, and said with a lewd smile, "As long as the fairy opens the mouth, there will be as many spirit stones as you want." "Really? Xiu'er is also a good actor." She looked happy and exclaimed, "But Brother Dong, I need a lot of spirit stones. I wonder if Brother Dong has enough." "Fairy, you underestimate me, Brother Dong. There are many people in Yologo City who are stronger than me, but in terms of spirit stones, they only have a handful of more than me." Ding Dong stretched out his palm confidently and shook it in front of Xiu'er. Xiu'er still had a sad look on her face, and said, "Brother Dong, you won't lie to me, will you? In Yologo City, not to mention those city guards, there are more than 10 people in the nascent soul stage in the Yologo demon sect alone, and their spirit stones are not as much as yours." Ding Dong laughed and said disdainfully, "Fairy, you really asked the right person. So, why do you think I said that?" "Why?" Xiu'er asked with pretended interest. "Because I, Brother Dong, also have people there. Otherwise, why do you think I, a Jindan stage, am so rich in Yologo City?" Ding Dong pointed behind him, which was the direction of Yologo sect. "Brother Dong actually knows the elders of Yologo sect." Xiu'er was shocked, but she kept sneering in her heart. As long as Ding Dong said something that could confirm Ding Zhen's words, then Ding Zhen would definitely die. She selected 3 people. Not only did Luo Yanran have a great hatred with her, but the other 2 had long been fed up with Ding Zhen. "What's the big deal about knowing an elder?" Ding Dong laughed, reached out and touched Xiu'er's cheek, and said, "It's my great honor to know the fairy. Fairy, tell me, how many spirit stones do you want?" Xiu'er remained calm, took a step back, and said seriously, "Brother Dong, please respect yourself. I'm just here to borrow spirit stones. If you treat me lightly, you're not afraid." "Afraid?" Seeing Xiu'er dodge, Ding Dong's face suddenly sank, and the 2 men beside him didn't need to give orders at all, and immediately stepped forward to block Xiu'er's retreat. "Fairy, don't you still believe that I have someone inside? Not to mention it's you today, even if it's Luo Yanran who just returned to the sect and has the hope of becoming a saint, I, Ding Dong, dare to touch her. Ding Dong, you even dare to have ideas about Luo Yanran." Xiu'er's heart was as cold as an ice cellar. She knew very well that Luo Yanran would be the next sect master. Did he dare to have such an idea about Luo Yanran? It seems that Ding Dong is arrogant enough. Ding Zhen, I wonder what you feel now? In Yologo City, there are not many people that I, Ding Dong, can take seriously. To tell you the truth, the backer behind me is the current first elder, Ding Zhen. However, if you hear the truth, don't think about escaping from my hands, Ding Dong. Don't blame me, blame yourself for having a face that will bring disaster to the country and the people." After saying that, Ding Dong suddenly pounced. Unexpectedly, a black shadow suddenly rushed over from not far behind Xiu'er, and knocked Ding Dong back into the house. When Ding Dong climbed up from the room, he found that there were 3 Yuanying stage standing behind Xiu'er. And the figure who just knocked him away was Ding Zhen. It's over. Ding Dong felt like he was struck by thunder, and only these 2 words remained in his mind. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 710. At this time, Ding Zhen was helpless. She couldn't even speak and could only stare at the frightened Ding Dong with resentment on her face. This damn junior, after all these years of not seeing him and not beating him, he has swelled to such an extent. Dare to say these words in front of Xiu'er, it will directly push her into a pit of fire. Our elder Ding is really good. At this time, Xiu'er said lightly, walked up to Ding Dong, looked at Ding Dong who was half lying on the ground and had not yet gotten up, and her joking tone made the hair on the other person's body stand on end. He didn't understand, this was obviously just a Dan formation stage, but why he could follow 3 nascent soul stages. You have collected a lot of spiritual stones over the years, right? Hand them all over for your pleasure. Xiu'er has the power of life and death, not to mention, she just wants to die in a pill-forming period. Xiu'er, are you going to kill her directly? At this time, Luo Shuling asked. Elder Luo, it's okay to kill these few pill-forming stages, but Elder Ding needs to be taken back and handed over to the sect master. Just follow Xiu'er's instructions. Luo Shuling stepped back with a little regret, then grabbed Ding Zhen in the air. Spare your life, spare your life. Ding Zhen, who is inferior to 1 person but superior to 10,000 people, has ended up like this. Why doesn't Ding Dong know what will happen to him? He knelt and walked towards Xiu'er, kowtowing constantly, and begging for mercy every time he knelt. But Xiu'er was unmoved and repeated what she said before, hand over all the spirit stones and give you a pleasure. Finally, Ding Dong recognized the reality and explained the location of his spiritual stone storage. In the end, he was slapped into a fan by one of the nascent soul stage. The other 2 people did not escape death. And it's only been a stick of incense since Xiu'er arrived here. Elder Ding, do you have anything else to say? Xiu'er turned around, raised her brows and looked at Ding Zhen and said, but received no response. She pretended to suddenly realize it and said, I almost forgot that you were possessed by the sect master's magic power. In this way, if you don't say anything, I will take it as your acquiescence. After saying that, she turned to the 3 elders very politely and said, please, 3 elders, please take Ding Zhen back to the sect and wait for the sect leader to be punished. The dust has settled on Ding Dong. Even if Ding Zhen is not bound, it is easy for 1 sect and 1 city to deal with a small pill-forming period. Soon, they returned to Yaluo sect and met the sect leader again. Sect master, the matter is done. In the sect master's hall, the sect master sat in his seat again. In the audience, all the elders did not leave. Ding Zhen, on the other hand, was thrown into the open space in the middle. She felt like a light on her back and a lump in her throat. Unable to resist, unable to speak, unable to argue. Xiu'er, thank you for your hard work. Shuling, you have worked hard too. The sect leader said lightly, and then danced casually, and black energy immediately emerged from Ding Zhen's body, but then quickly subsided. Everyone was dumbfounded and felt that Ding Zhen's level was plummeting rapidly. The nascent soul stage fell to the pill formation stage, the pill formation stage fell to the foundation establishment stage, then to the chi refining stage, and finally turned into immortal. Yaluo demon sect has very strict rules and you are not allowed to harm your fellow sects. So Ding Zhen, I can only abolish your cultivation level. Okay, you can leave. As soon as he finished speaking, Ding Zhen was blown out of the door by a strong gust of wind and rolled several times before stopping. Her eyes were lifeless, and her face seemed to be many years older at this moment. Without the support of strength, her appearance will soon grow old. But the longevity of the nascent soul stage is still there. As long as you don't become a monster, you can still live for hundreds of years. But for a woman who is now immortal, it is difficult for her to bear hundreds of years of loneliness. Xiu'er, send a notice to the whole city and let everyone know that anyone who dares to break the rules of Yoluo City, not even the elder of the sect, will be spared. In addition, Ding Dong must also be informed. Those who have already submitted to the law and owe him spiritual stones do not need to pay them back. Yes, sect master. Xiu'er retreated, leaving only the sect master and his disciples here. Shuling, is your resentment finally over? The sect master looked at Luo Shuling with a half-smile. Luo Shuling was shocked and said in shock, Master, do you know that it was Ding Zhen who was behind this? Of course I know, the sect leader nodded lightly, and the old god was there, saying, if I don't even have this ability, why do you still dare to take the position of the sect leader? Don't you think that I am old and useless? Disciples don't dare. All the elders knelt down and spoke in unison. Okay, actually, my master has discovered that Ding Zhen has been up to something evil for a long time. However, the Yasha realm has not been peaceful these years, so he has been holding back and asked her to get more spiritual stones. And the reason why I strictly ordered you to go out is that I'm afraid you won't be able to help but take action and spoil the good thing. Speaking of this, the sect leader smiled and said, Ding Zhen also has a lot of spiritual stones, plus the spiritual stones in Ding Dong's hands, which add up to hundreds of thousands. It just so happens that the Silver Sword Demon sect I want to see what they can do to fight against us. Master, Silver Sword Demon sect and others really dare to come. Luo Shuling's face darkened and she said immediately. After knowing that Wang Shu was framed and the sect leader also knew about it, Luo Shuling felt inexplicably moved in her heart. It turns out that I have not been forgotten by my master. Yana reported this matter to me as soon as he returned to the section. Those petty bitches of the Silver Sword Demon sect, not only dare to start a war with us, but at least they will ask for some compensation from us. Humph, I have a spiritual stone as my teacher, but he won't give it to them. He was not killed by us from the Yoluo Demon sect, why? Wang Shuling secretly felt something was wrong, and said quickly, Master, but the righteous monk helped Yan Ran, if we ignore it, wouldn't it make Yan Ran feel cold? Ha ha ha, the sect leader laughed heartily, making everyone confused. You guys, I usually ask you to go out to practice, but you are too lazy to go out. This matter, don't you understand? The one who helped Yanner is in the pill formation stage. Ya realm monks. Do you think that boy is so virtuous and capable that he will come to Yasha realm? As soon as these words came out, everyone immediately understood what the sect leader meant. This seems to be an attempt to shirk responsibility, and it will cause the Silver Sword Demon sect to suffer a hidden loss. If you want to take revenge, fine. Every wrong has its owner, and every debt has its owner. You can go after whoever kills you. What are you going to do with us, the Yoluo Demon sect? For a time, all those in the nascent soul stage were happy. Senior Sister Luo, our Yoluo Demon sect adheres to rules and morality, and we will definitely not let Yan Ranyan feel bad. Ha ha ha, yes, you see, if Senior Sister Ding Zhen dares to break the rules, the master will punish her severely and beat her into immortal. Not to mention someone who is kind to Yan Ran. That's right, but, that boy is really brave. How dare a Ya realm monk help a little demon girl like Yan Ran? Hearing this, a bright light suddenly flashed in Luo Shuling's mind. Yajing. The elixir formation period. Didn't Wang Shu say that he wanted to tell Yan Ran something to a monk in the Ya realm's Dan formation stage? Could it be him? Shuling, what's wrong? The sect leader had been looking at everyone with a smile, but he noticed at a glance that the expression on Luo Shuling's face was wrong. Master, I forgot to mention that Wang Shu has recovered and is currently in the disciples' courtyard. I want to go back and have a look. Luo Shuling did not dare to respond directly at this time, so she found an excuse. Oh? Is that girl Shuer okay? How come she's okay? Originally, I was waiting to get the 10,000 spirit stones for her after finishing Ding Zhen's matter. She said with a smile on her face and said, this girl is not bad at all. She saved me 10,000 spirit stones. This is a huge sum of money. Luo Shuling couldn't laugh at all. At this moment, she just wanted to go back and let Wang Shu explain the matter clearly. At this time, the notice from Yaluo city was sent out, and the whole city was in an uproar. The righteous monks were dumbfounded by the Yaluo sect's vigorous and violent methods. An elder who was at the peak of the late nascent soul was dismissed at the drop of a hat. The young monks in Yaluo city were extremely happy. 9 out of 10 people who saw the announcement rushed to tell each other. Just because they all owe a dong the spiritual stone. Now there is no need to pay it back. What an eye-opener. For a time, Yaluo city's prestige reached its peak. There are rumors that a dong has a big figure in Yaluo sect as his backer, which has been confirmed. But this backer was destroyed. And the righteous monks, no matter what their realm, all put away their little thoughts. At this time, Zuyun had already returned to his true self, casually handed over some spirit stones, and returned to the city. Seeing that the city lord's atmosphere was completely different, and even more so, he was singing and dancing directly, I couldn't help but feel a little confused. After coming back to his senses, he casually grabbed a local monk and stuffed 2 spiritual stones over it, saying, fellow Taoist, what happened? Why are everyone so happy? The demonic cultivator didn't confiscate the spirit stone at all, and hugged Zuyun instead, hugging him and running while shouting in his ear, ha ha ha, because today is a good day.